Welcome, everybody. The Republican National Convention concluding last night with failed former President Donald Trump, a civilly liable rapist and 34-time convicted felon, accepting the nomination of the Republican Party for president. And I have to tell you, it has been a very bad 3 weeks for Democrats. The best thing that has happened for Democrats in the last 3 weeks is Donald Trump's record duration, 93-minute, rambling, slurring, soaking wet, dishonest and disorganized Republican convention speech from Trump last night. It was such a disaster, claiming it would be a new tone, getting away from the divisive rhetoric and all of that stuff. It was essentially Trump's standard speech delivered with a flatter sort of affect to account for the serious and somber nature of the post-assassination attempt environment, and riddled with the very same lies and grievances and distortions that we've become accustomed to. So we will review it, and then I will give you my assessment, but it is essentially Trump reading the same nonsense he does at the cult rallies, but with a flatter affect. As is often the case, Donald Trump taking the stage like he is some kind of cult leader.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee,
It's hard not to laugh, but we should be crying.
across the plains of Texas,
Right.
from sea to shining sea, from Detroit to Houston and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say.
All right, you get it. So Donald Trump modifying his generic grievance and lie-riddled rally speeches with just a little bit about the failed assassination attempt, and Trump very early on, right from the beginning, going the "this was divine intervention that I survived" sort of argument.
I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here. No? Thank you. But I'm not. And I'll tell you, I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God.
Trump is almost certainly not religious.
In watching the reports over the last few days, many people say it was a providential moment. Probably was. When I rose surrounded by Secret Service, the crowd was confused because they thought I was dead, and there was great, great sorrow. I could see that on their face.
Yeah. So listen, going with this whole God saved me by, I guess, redirecting the bullet into an innocent firefighter standing behind me, which, of course, raises all the very same questions I talked about 2 days ago. I won't do it all again, but you must assume if God intervened to save Trump, that Trump is more valuable than the guy God directed the bullet into. And of course, it also raises the question of why God didn't just make the gun jam or prevent the shooter from even being there, or prevent the shooter from having the idea of shooting Trump, or prevent the shooter from being born, or making it so that the shooter gets into a car accident on the way to the rally. No, the way that God intervened was to allow the shooter to do everything up to and including firing the gun, having it only graze Trump's ear, but kill an innocent bystander behind Trump. Very tough, very, very tough argument to believe, even by the very nature of the religious teachings that Trump sort of claims to believe, which I don't think he does. Trump also completely rewriting his understanding of what took place at the assassination attempt. Remember that Donald Trump initially said, I kind of didn't even really know what was going on because it felt like a mosquito bite. Trump retelling the story yesterday with a completely different explanation, which is that he knew it was a bullet. He knew it could have only been a bullet, and he knew it right away.
When I heard a loud whizzing sound and felt something hit me really, really hard, on my right ear. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet. And moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place.
Now, none of this is true. This doesn't change that he almost was killed. It doesn't change that I denounce assassination attempts, that I am completely and totally against violence. It doesn't change any of that. But this is a completely new story. Trump's hand wasn't covered in blood. Trump said, I didn't know what it was. It seemed almost like a mosquito at the time. But now the news story is drenched in blood, blood everywhere. And I immediately knew that it was a bullet and I had survived an assassination attempt. Completely new story. Trump using the dead firefighter's helmet as a prop during the speech, going over and kissing the uniform of Corey Comparatore, the man shot and killed at the Pennsylvania rally. There it is. Trump kissing the gear of the guy that, according to their understanding, was killed because God intervened so that the bullet wouldn't kill Trump. I mean, it's sick. It's downright sick. And then, after this brief aside about the assassination, Trump officially accepting the Republican nomination for president.
So tonight, with faith and devotion, I proudly accept your nomination for President of the United States. Thank you.
So from this point forward, with the acceptance out of the way, with the rehashing of the assassination attempt out of the way, Trump goes into a record-setting 93-minute long convention speech, longest convention speech in history, with a lot of the normal hits. It was so bad, it was so boring, getting to the stroke of midnight East Coast time, that people started falling asleep. I'm not using that term figuratively. They were literally sleeping during the speech. We will get to that in a moment. Trump confusing artificial intelligence and electric vehicles.
So tonight, with faith and...
Sorry, this is the wrong clip. Here is the correct clip.
And some of the things that we're going to do, but AI needs literally twice the electricity that's available now in our country. Can you imagine? But instead, we're spending places where they recharge electric cars. They build.
So this makes no sense. We are spending places where they recharge their electric cars and AI needs quite twice the electricity. None of it makes sense. And this was the way most of the speech was. And you could almost sense the energy draining out of Trump as midnight got closer and closer. A very slurry and low energy Trump talking about how Kim Jong-un wants him to be president, which isn't exactly something I'd be bragging about.
I got along very well. North Korea, Kim Jong-un, I got along very well with him. The press hated when I said that. How could you get along with him? Well, you know, it's nice to get along with somebody who has a lot of nuclear weapons or otherwise, isn't it? See, in the old days, they'd say, that's a wonderful thing. Now they say, how could you possibly do that? But no, I got along with him, and we stopped the missile launches from North Korea. Now North Korea's acting up again, but when we get back, I get along with him. He'd like to see me back, too. I think he misses me, if you want to know the truth.
It's not something I would be bragging about. And quite frankly, the fact that Trump claims the dictators love him and the fact that he's smitten and taken with the dictators, none of it to me says this is the guy we want running things. Now, you may recall that there was a big deal made of the fact that the rhetoric would be toned down. This was going to be a buttoned up Trump with not any of the old rhetoric. Well, he very quickly went back to the crazy Nancy Pelosi rhetoric.
Every week they get another subpoena from the Democrats, crazy Nancy Pelosi, the whole thing, just boom, boom, boom. They've got to stop that because They're destroying our country.
Now, remember, when Democrats said Trump will destroy our democracy if he wins, and then a Republican shot Trump, MAGA said it's the fault of Democrats for saying Trump will destroy our democracy. But now, supposedly toned down and buttoned up Trump, searching for unity, says the exact same thing. Democrats will destroy our country. But we are supposed to believe that that is not equally an incitement to violence. In other words, if saying Trump's a threat to democracy is an incitement to violence, why wouldn't Trump saying Democrats will destroy the country equally be an incitement to violence? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's just what can they get away with? Trump doing the "our cities are flooded with illegal aliens" bit.
Inflation we've ever had. But go back and see what's happened to those countries. We've had the worst inflation we've ever had under this person. But in less than 4 years, our opponents have turned incredible success into unparalleled tragedy and failure. It's been a tremendous failure. Today, our cities are flooded with illegal aliens. Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force and their jobs are taken.
Remember, the lazy illegal aliens who just want to suck on the teat of the government and welfare state are taking everyone's jobs. They're so lazy, they've taken all the jobs.
By the way, you know who's taking the jobs that are created? 107% of those jobs are taken by illegal aliens.
Yes, and I took out my protractor and my old TI-83 calculator to figure out the math of that. 107% of the jobs have been taken by so-called illegal aliens. My TI-83 exploded. I had to throw it in the trash can. Trump then going completely off script and going back to his favorite new obsession, Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal Lecter, which I still am unsure whether Trump knows is a fictional character rather than a historical figure.
They're coming from prisons. They're coming from jails. They're coming from mental institutions and insane asylums. You know, the press is always on me because I say this. Has anyone seen Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter.
Right. Hannibal Lecter.
He'd love to have you for dinner.
All right, we still don't know whether Trump knows that it's just a movie with Anthony Hopkins or he thinks that Hannibal Lecter is a historical figure. Trump revitalizing the China virus phrase, which gave me a PTSD about those daily COVID press conferences Trump would give, including the one where he said, what about injecting bleach?
But I don't even talk about it because of COVID. I don't even mention it, frankly, because of what happened with the China virus.
And that one really gets, isn't that just so clever? Oh, referring to it again as the China virus is just so clever. We should clap for that. And then ominously, and of course, reminding us that Trump is very much into Project 2025 and all of the elements in it. Trump says that he will round up millions of Latinos in mass detention camps. And this is going to be, listen to this.
And bad things are going to happen, and you're seeing it happen all the time. That's why, to keep our families safe, the Republican platform promises to launch the largest deportation operation in the history of our country. Even larger than that of President Dwight D. Eisenhower from many years ago. You know, he was a moderate, but he believed very strongly in borders. He had the largest deportation operation we've ever had.
There you go. So Trump making it clear Project 2025 will be happening. And then as we started to approach midnight in the East and 9 p.m. Pacific time, Trump reading off of the teleprompter, increasingly more and more low energy, and just kind of getting the sense that he's fading away.
This movement in the history of our country by far can't be stopped. It can't be stopped. It has always been about the hardworking, patriotic citizens of America. For too long, our nation has settled for too little. We settled for too little. We've given everything to other nations, to other people. You have been told to lower your expectations and to accept less for your families. I am here tonight with the opposite message.
All right, so just fading away, and eventually Trump finally wrapping up this 93-minute record-setting duration speech with Melania Trump going on stage and dodging multiple attempts from Trump to kiss her. It almost makes you sad, but it doesn't. There's one. Another. Okay, so maybe it was two dodged kiss attempts. So listen, here's my takeaway. This guy must be beatable. It must be possible to defeat this guy, arguably the worst, most unhinged convention acceptance speech in American history. Does not even seem hyperbolic. The question is, who will be best positioned to defeat Donald Trump? There is breaking news about that. I will get to it in a moment. This was Trump's typical rally speech in a calmer tone, but really no different. Crazy Nancy Pelosi, mass deportation, COVID, China virus. Do not be fooled about the new unity Trump or whatever. Only one mention of Joe Biden by name, I believe, riddled with false statements and all sorts of misleading claims. Trump saying, I built most of the border wall. He didn't. Trump saying that inflation was 50, 60, 70%. The truth is, of course, there has been inflation. It's been lower in the U.S. than in other Western developed countries. But we have about total inflation of 20% over the nearly 4 years since Joe Biden took office. And Trump repeating the baseless assertions that he actually won 2020's election and it was stolen from him many times during the speech. So the takeaway, same Trump, no change, must be beatable. And we now get to who can beat Trump? Who can beat Trump? We will take a break and talk about that in a little bit. Make sure that you have downloaded the free Project 2025 white paper at davidpakman.com/Project 2025 to learn all about the dangers of Trump winning and implementing that. Well, with the arrival of the warmer weather, many of us are heading outdoors more and more and really trying to get that summer fitness going. If you're looking for just a simple, science-based, straightforward workout program with real results, check out Alpha Progression. Alpha Progression stands out for its remarkable value, user-friendly design, total customization based on individual needs. It has a stellar 4.9 star rating in both the Apple and Google app stores. It's supported by tens of thousands of positive reviews, and it's twice been recognized as Apple's App of the Day. Focused solely on maximizing muscle gain, Alpha Progression is perfect for everybody from beginners to seasoned lifters looking to achieve exactly that. Each workout plan is uniquely crafted to match your personal fitness goals, and it was developed over years by veteran bodybuilders, so the app will provide those very same principles and tailored advice as a personal trainer, but at a fraction of the cost. With Alpha Progression, you can achieve the results you want without breaking the bank. We are partnering with Alpha Progression to give you 20% off your first year when you sign up for an annual plan, or 20% off your first month if you sign up for monthly. The link is in the description.